The National Balloon Classic in Indianola, Iowa is a spectacle.
So we're going to get some food and maybe go on to that giant slide over there and then watch the balloons.
Sights and sounds equally unique and brilliant. If you're feeling adventurous, you can take a ride of your own.
I've always likened being a balloonist like living in the circus. You're born into it. In keeping with the Born into the Circus theme, number 20 this year, Chris Flyer.
Indianola is so unique because we fly into this field, almost every morning, but every morning it could act differently. There's some mornings that there's little valleys on the north side of this field. Those valleys could take you right at the target. The next morning they will kick you away from the target as hard as they possibly can. And that happened yesterday morning, or the other morning. We came in over this pond to the west of the scoring area, and I come over that pond and kind of kept trickling back to the east, and a balloon right in front of me crossed, going south.
I think this is one of the better events, or it's a good event to go to. You've got a lot of competition. There's so much to learn here, and I mean, if you do well here, you're doing well.
It is a go-to event. The Classic drew in more than 100 balloons this year. Pilots from across the nation, newcomers and champions alike, filled the sky over central Iowa. They come for the hospitality, the beautiful countryside, the familial comfort, and they also come for the competition.
This is my first time here. I've only flown. This is the second competition I've ever had, so I'm one of the rookies. Yeah, it's amazing. Some of these guys make these things dance, and I'm picking a lot of their brains and learning a lot of stuff while I'm here. So
we have very good pilots that come to Indianola. There were a lot that came up from Texas that I hadn't seen in a while. There's some people that I know when they're here, I'm like, I hope I can do, you know what I mean? I would even be happy to hang probably with those guys and try to be able to compete at their level.
Yeah, the goal here generally, if you get in the top 20, you're pretty happy with your week. Just because, especially this year, we have a lot of new pilots come up from the Southwest, Albuquerque, Phoenix, California, Nevada, and then the Texas guys came back, and the Texas guys are hardcore competitors. So there's a lot of competition here this week.
Next guy up, if we paid him 50 cents an hour for all the volunteer work he does for us here at the Classic, his check would be way more than the first place guy. 16th place, Leroy Flair.
Evening flights are generally geared towards entertainment. Pilots fly out of the balloon field en masse, or into it a few at a time, competing for prizes. As the sun goes down, they put on a show. They arrive before the sun for the morning flight, where they will earn tournament points. Organizers start even earlier.
About 3 hours before sunrise, and then about 3 hours before sunset. And what our goal is we look at the current conditions and say, how are those going to change during the flight window?
We're at Collectomania, And there was a bag of these balloons cost about probably $1 a piece, I suppose, if to buy a balloon this size. There was a bag of 100 of them for 50 cents for the whole bag. So they say Black Friday sales event. We don't care.
They launch a pieball or pilot balloon to determine wind speed and direction at different altitudes.
So, weather officer, one of my most important jobs is basically making sure that we have good, safe flying weather. So we'll go through I'll put together a weather forecast, just make sure that we got a good flight plan that we can fly safely. Then the second part of the job, since this is a competition, we're actually trying to find what direction we're going to fly so we can set targets so that we can make it a good competition.
All right, we're rolling.
It's clear we're not.
We have a couple of hundred targets here at the Classic that we use. Out of those couple hundred, we'll use maybe 10 of them throughout the course of the week. On a good week, 15. But we have to be ready with a 360-degree amount of targets to pick from. And we go to every single one. We have a guy who goes around and talks to every single person and makes sure everything's good and permissions are good and the target's still good. It's not slow enough to put less than a mile between a target, is there? Or
I wouldn't want to do that.
Nobles, which we used yesterday, of course, is 134 degrees. And then from the field to 263 right there is 143 degrees.
In the morning, we'll have anywhere from 20 to maybe 90 degrees of steering, because at different elevations, as you can go up, the wind will generally change direction and speed. And when we fly, a lot of times what we call it, we have a predominant direction. Like tonight, it's going to go to the south. And as we move south, as we go up, we'll kind of steer a little to the right. And as we come down, we generally steer a little to the left. So, and we're trying to find where that medium is so that we got that predominant direction and we have a good steering that we can find those targets.
Wind direction is indicated as a degree on the compass. 140 degrees would be coming out of the southeast. If the winds aloft are at 140 and the surface winds are at 120, there are 20 degrees of steering. Here's what 90 degrees of steering looks like.
What time do we say no way?
I would say after 8.
After 8:30.
8:30. So you're saying if at 8:30, so we'll go on hold till 7. We'll keep the same task sheet in mind. If we have to go on hold again, we'll go on half-hour increments, 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
If 8:15 comes and it's not flyable, let's scratch it.
Wind speeds above 10 miles per hour on the surface make flying dangerous. But as the pilots arrive for their briefing on this morning, the safety issue is fog.
We are going to hold until 7 o'clock. My intention is that we will fly this morning. They assure me we will fly this morning, but we're just going to watch the clock tick away and chop tasks off as we wait. But we will, I don't think we're going to hold, and anybody who knows me knows we're going to hold. So I think we can still send you guys out at 8:30 and run some kind of quality task. It may not be quality tasks, but it will be something. So we've got a task sheet designed up. We'll just wait and see what the fog does to us. So at this point, we are on hold until 7 o'clock.
In competitive ballooning, there's a lot of hurry up and wait.
It's gotten better, just as dumb as it sounds in the 5 minutes we stood here. Let's open the targets up at 7:15, and we'll close them at 9:30. Is that enough? Do we need to go to 10? 10 on the last one?
Or 9:45, at least give them a little more time.
I have no problem extending it even to 10, but I don't think we'll need it.
I don't think we'll need it,
Yeah.
but
Okay, so, and we're gonna run a launch period until
If we release them at 7:15, we run a launch period till 9.
It is August 1st, it is Thursday, it is 6 a.m. This will be tasks 12, 13, and 14. It will be a fly-in, a minimum distance double drop, and a hesitation waltz. Task 12, the fly-in, is target 261. This is a red baggie. It is a gravity drop. Your hand has to be inside the basket when you do the gravity drop. Okay? That's target 261. It is 58, 28, 78, 16. You must be 1 kilometer out. The maximum is the contest area. We're going to score this one from 7:30 until 9:30. The scoring area will be a 300-foot radius of the X. No crops, trees, water, buildings, or crossing fences. Again, do not forget, this one is a gravity drop. Task 13 is a minimum distance double drop. It is located at target 101. You will use a white baggie, you will use a yellow baggie. It does not matter which order you throw them in. You just need to use those two, okay? Target 101, 5690, 7929 is a minimum of 2 kilometers out. The maximum is the contest area. Scoring period will be from 7:30 until 9:30, and the scoring area will be according to the diagram. Pull out your diagram, we'll go over this. The object of this task is to get 2 markers as close together as possible in 2 opposite areas, either A and C or B and D. Valid markers dropped in opposite areas will be measured to the center of the X. Any drops in an area that is not opposite will be no result. Any drops outside of the described area is no result. Markers with weighted portion touching any paint, fabric, or caution tape are no result. You will come into the field in a perfect world. You will roll right up to the center of the X, put 1 baggie in one side of an and then one in an opposite side. You do not have a marker to drop on the X. No one wants to land on the X this morning. Task 14 is a hesitation waltz. It is target 136 or 105. It is a blue baggie. Target 136 is 5352, 8239. Target 105 is 5341, 8366. You must be a minimum of 3 kilometers, and maximum is the contest area. The scoring period will be from 7:30 until 9:45. The scoring area for 136 is a 300-foot radius, and the scoring foot for 105 is also a 300-foot radius of the X with no crops, trees, water, buildings, or crossing fences. The launch period will be from 7:15, although you're still going to be here at 7:15, and that is until 9 a.m. The launch area will be your choice. The scoring period will end when it's indicated on the sheet. There's no ground contact. All PZs are in effect. Sunrise has already happened. Hey, this meeting ain't over. The next, well, okay. The next briefing is now at 6 p.m. The meeting now is over.
With task sheets in hand, it's time to find a launch site.
Some mornings being first is a great thing, and some mornings being first is the worst thing in the world that could ever happen.
Hey, can you guys give me a pie ball? Go ahead.
Right at 279 now. 280. What about like cutting in between here and McConnell?
You can see one balloon is off the ground. It's a McConnell balloon. They're usually always the first ones out of the gate here at the Classic, and usually the first ones in the air. They're really good at selecting launch spots.
On a given morning like this morning, we had 100 people launched, and they probably took off from 20 different places.
Having a family who's been connected with the Classics or the Indianola Blues since day one grants you into the circus 13th place for everybody.
That'll work.
Once a launch site has been chosen, each balloon must have written permission from the landowner before the crew jumps into action. Someone has to make sure the fan is ready for cold inflation. The pilot connects the burner to the propane tanks and basket. His chief helps him hook the envelope to the basket.
Keep this lid down right there, and that'll go in just fine.
The envelope is removed from its bag. It takes at least 2 people to hold open the mouth of the balloon. As the envelope fills, the tabs at the crown are connected. Someone needs to hold the crown line to manage roll and rise.
Quite as good as this kid, but he had a heck of a week for Bloom.
Nailed it. Look at that.
Wow! Good job! There it is.
8th place, I'm not pretty sure if this guy's second generation or not, but Cameron Wall.
So if you feel that wind on our face, the wind's changing for us. See, I'm trying to get my left now, because if we have to go over top those cows, we need to climb.
If you go higher, you usually go faster and turn to the right, and if you go down, you usually come down slower and go to the left. So there's about, this morning, the steering wedge is about 20 degrees, and it's a little bit narrow. Usually there's 40 to 50 degrees steerage around Indianola in the mornings.
I'm like, I know I'm getting right. How much right am I getting, or how much left am I getting? So it was a fun morning. I had to work really hard, but it was fun. I thought I did really well with handling the racer and the speeds that you can be falling at or climbing at to get to where you need to be.
To be able to get to that turn and then get back down again is really, really important. And having that ability to go faster up and down really, really makes in this morning's race, a critical difference.
I think that last target that I ended up going to, if I wouldn't have had my racer, I don't think I could have climbed up fast enough to get to the last target that I ended up throwing at.
You've got a sleeker balloon vertical. It'll go up and down twice the speed or more of what that standard shaped balloon will do.
You know, we're all kind of in it together. You know, it's very humbling. Last year, they have a board in here with 10 guys that placed in the top 10. Last year I was one of those guys that's up on that board from last year, and this year I'm not even close. It's kind of humbling sport. It's kind of like golf. You know, you can go out and hit the best shot in one hole, and the next hole you're scrambling to get out of the woods.
6th place, the son of a father-son pilot combination, John Sheldon.
you'll see them, they'll make their approaches down usually and dip and then go back up, and that kind of indicates where the tower, or where the X is out there in the country.
The other guys took out about 5 miles south of us, pretty much. And we seen them coming over, and we're just setting up, and we thought we were in pretty good lineup, and sure enough we were. So what happened was we got up and we kind of seen, oh yeah, they're all coming down. You can see the balloons coming down at the X and stuff. You don't know for sure where they're at until you get up in the air. And so what happened was Ben and I got up, we're following on, we got up, we got our little bit of our right, come down, and we scooted right over the top of the X. And we nailed it right in the center. Nice. But there were so many in the center, we think we're probably 8th place.
Come on, Tyler!
All right.
Woo! Love you!
It's a rental!
We had the choice of 2 different targets. One was a little further north. I stayed south because I had the line. I could fly low from here to that final target and stay on the line of that final target according to my GPS, and I did. There's a hotel that's situated to the east of where that target was laying, and I came in south of the hotel, stayed up a little bit, and then dropped down and came into that target going left, where there was balloons to the north of that hotel that basically flew right down to that target, because they already had that, they were already on the surface, and there's a road that divided the hotel, and that the target was on the north side of that road, and there was people flying down that road and actually going back to the south. I saw one balloon kind of go back to the south. So that's the thing about ballooning, is it's kind of, you got to be on top of your game. Like I said, I was not on top of my game between these two, and it kind of cost me a little bit, but you got to really rely on Mother Nature to hang in there, just like it did for other balloonists, and this morning it was.
Some people say that being in the office is a competitive advantage. Going to bed at midnight, waking up at 3, 9 days in a row is a competitive advantage. Then I guess, yeah. We're pretty serious in the back office. We don't mess around much. But third place is one of our weathermen, Aaron Felsby.
$107 feet, 11 inches.
61, 107 feet, 11 inches.
Yes.
The most you can get for a task is 1,000 points. First place has 15,000 points right now, so he's had over a 900-point average to get there. There's one guy who came with me yesterday, he said, I've flown all week, I've missed one time, I'm in 31st place.
Yeah, we hit all of the targets, but some of them we did pretty well on, and others not so well. So I'd say we're mid-pack, maybe upper third of the pack.
We did okay the first target. We did real well, probably about an 8-foot drop. The second target was a complicated drop. I couldn't get enough right there, so I don't think we scored on that one. Third target was a single X, probably got about 20 feet from it.
10 feet out from the one leg of the X, so it turned out nice. And then right after that, across the field, the guy that was helping us was from around here. He knew the people that lived there. It was his drinking buddy. There's this land here. He was out in the grass and where we come in to land.
The problem is it's fresh alfalfa. Respect for the landowners, we never want to damage their crops or do anything, which we haven't done here. We don't want to drive our vehicles on it, so now we have an hour or so of packing up and carrying things out.
Yeah, after 50 years in ballooning, we really have to have a pretty good partnership with the landowners, or this whole thing wouldn't work. We respect a lot of what they do, and they work well with us on letting us use their stuff.
Down to the top two. This morning, going into this last flight, there were, I don't know, I think it was less than 20 points. I'm not sure, but it was as close as this many tasks could possibly be. Going into this morning, Brandon Bloom had the lead. After the first target, Joe Hartzell took it away from him. Joe surpassed him. Joe came into the second target and widened his lead on Brandon. On the third task, something happened and Brandon eclipsed Joe. Second place with 16,844 points, former Classic champion, national champion, and world champion, Joe Hartzell.
Indianola, thank you for having us, thank you for inviting us, and thank you for being great hosts for this event.
Everywhere I go, it doesn't matter. I was out in Utah over the 4th of July, and every pilot I talked to about where I was from, I said, you have to come to Indianola. There's nothing else like it. There's some weekend events that are pretty special, but as far as a week-long event, Indianola knows how to put it on, and they've been doing it for 50 years. This countryside is beautiful. The landowners are great. It's just, the event gets better every year.
The 2019 National Balloon Classic champion. After 21 tasks with an 820-point average, won this before, second generation pilot, second National Balloon Classic championship for him, Brandon Bloom.
This was a long week. These pilots up here, holy smokes. And if you look at the average at the end of the week, it's pretty high. You know, coming into this week, Chris and Patty and Bubba and everybody talked. And we kind of knew an average that we needed to hold on to. We tried our best to hold on to it. And Joe up here, holy smokes, sweating bullets till the very end. You know, I want to give a big thanks to my wife for all her support. I'm out here every single day. This little guy right here, keeping me calm all week, not letting me think about anything, you know. My dad helping me out, that was huge. Team Young Guns. And then 2 older guys we had with us. Really up the average age there. So, no, great job to everybody up here. It was a great week. I think everybody had a lot of fun. Thank you to the staff. Everything you guys have done all week. You guys did an amazing job. So, here's 2020. Thank you.